Jill here with Sirius Dallas Moon, and maybe a lot of you have been hearing about Decentralized Man November, and let me think, birth rates. Korea now, women decided they prefer to go extinct as a country than to birth with men that are rapey. It's and people make of it like it's a ideology. It's not. It's like when men is rapey, sex is not compatible for conception and birth. That is good for upbringing of babies. So basically, men that are rapey kill their nation. They kill the spirit behind their nation. Women that support rape are women that supporting prolonged child abuse, the prolonged rape of children, and essentially why they do that. Well, trauma bonds. If they didn't have meeting of their emotional needs and they have uh, uh, only kindness as bait, then women begin to be cruel, and these women abuse their children. Women that say "Me Too" went too far, yes, they will abuse their children. They will emasculate their children so not to be raped, and then if the child rapes still, they will harm other women to take the rage on other women. And that creates a society that's, yes, Munal Debaran, Mars hour, 29 degrees Capricorn, midheaven 17 degrees Scorpio. Mercury is square in Neptune today at 29 degrees Sag. Mars 12 degrees Capricorn. Venus 9 degree away from the Sun. So you see, every society that works like what I talked about yesterday, the youth, the teenager rape the children have to unite with themselves, but the children have to rape other children. And then there is marriage between a married man with family to a child in the Spartan life, basically. And that is the basis for secret societies. Um, all of these societies went extinct because there's no enough yin to sustain yang. Um, it is pest-like society. It needs to harm more people, harm more people, harm more people, and then it goes extinct because there's nothing to hold. People, you see, when people are raped and tortured and so on and so forth, they don't really have, and the trauma bond for love, so they turn the aggression that they have around each other, basically, because a child that was married to a man that raped them and so on, so they turn it against others. Again, this is like a bubble that pops, and it's a financial bubble, Saturn Neptune. So in Korea, um, women decided, it's not women decided, it's basically if a woman doesn't want to be in relationship that drains her femininity, where she's not safe and free, where her orgasm doesn't bring the water because it's not relaxed arousal, then woman like this, she could not have sex. They say, oh, what about marriage? Will you marry no one? Well, if all the men are rapey, there's no one to marry. And then what happens usually in such societies? Say, oh, we can rape the women to have children. Then women will murder the children. Because if the child is born to rape, and then they try to do femicide, okay, then Each one of these options is going extinct. They try to still have births when they don't honor life. Does it bring them closer together? Yes, it does. Do they fight to the death and become fearful warriors? Yes, they do. Do they still go extinct? Absolutely. They are on the highway to extinction. In fact, when I talked about yin and yang when it comes to mundane war studies, the depletion of yin creates world wars. And then the world wars kill young. So they kill the young generation of men, basically the men that were succumbing to this cult-like structure. And this is let birth rate plummet to hell. Korean women are deciding with their wombs. Now, here's the thing. They're not deciding to kill the nation. They cannot define men that are men. Okay? If man has to kill, rape a wife, as a secret society to be showing their loyalty to this secret society that is filled with rape and horror and this and that, there's nothing to work with. And not only that, she had to defend herself. So um, to maintain a femininity, to go to Mars, okay, which is also of the sex, so that Mars will not have to use drugs to have yes, erection. To maintain this, Mars aggression can only be to defend from rapey settings, situations, businesses, policies, religions, and so on. Only such Mars can sustain. Mars that does not defend from rape cannot sustain. And this is why in these societies they rape the men from the beginning and so on, because they try to emasculate the men so that they cannot be men. Men, natural men, defend from rape. Also, when men defend from rape, defend from these things, then woman is loyal to men. She likes men. Unless if he thinks she's whore because she was raped, then he does not defend from rape spiritually. And this means that all of these societies are going extinct, because no matter what they do, by the way, even if these women didn't say no, still the society would go extinct, because there's nothing to hold. A woman can only hold young. She can only hold a place for young when she is. And here's the thing: all the religions that do not defend from rape, also they're going extinct. Women will not begin to pray for them. Pray for what? A religion supports rape. Another channel that talks about this, yes, another BIPOC lady, and she talks about basically this topic. Anything that does not defend from rape is going extinct. It's a telos of it going extinct. In fact, when the best method to depopulate entire humanity is to have humanity being rapey. Because for entire ecosystem, it's also trauma on the nature. Okay, where sensual love, tantric will and consent is something that, how should I say that, even the trees are happy. When babies born in rape, even the trees are cut illegally and legally. No air in the lungs of the people, typhus, diseases,
אנחנו בביוגאיה מקפידים לתת את השירות הכי טוב ללקוחות שלנו. אנחנו שולחים מדי יום מאות הזמנות ללקוחות בכל רחבי הארץ, כשמעל 90% מההזמנות יוצאות מאיתנו תוך יום עסקים אחד בלבד.
Of the rage towards each other, because they feel helpless and isolated. It's an approximation, and this is also a financial bubble with the Saturn Neptune. That is, when I talked about the bubble, it's like a seething volcano from within that's coming to snap. And all of these societies, they're nothing in the face of love, because they put love to extinction. They don't defend from rape, so they cannot be. Most effective way to exterminate society is to have it basically being rapey. To men, to women. By the way, they rape men, they rape children. And this is the atmosphere that begins today. So if a person is raping, all the world can go extinct. And then they try to kill the women. There will be nothing to sustain them. What happened when they tried to kill the women in World War II? 2 generations of men died, young men, and they died in such ways where they became mass graves. Their names, their legacies, their this, all extinct. Everything that they were. They returned like sand to the sand, like grains of sand. They evacuated their existence from the world. See this 2026, and those that became addicted to cohesion, basically nothing was left of them. No legacy, no name, nothing. All of their power became this bubble that pops, and every time they try to do the same tactic. We hear about ideation of Sparta, and then every time the bubble is about to pop, men talk about the fact that this went extinct, and even though they did keep hidden power and so on and so forth, it was bubble that popping, and only love is the way out of that. Love is actually loving, which means that the use of Mars and aggression is to protect, to set boundary to anything rapey in spirit and in matter. This is also the time where the extortion cults begin to cash in. They don't like Pope Leo. Why this Pope? Why that Pope? Well, how many? If he lived in such secret society, how many children he raped? It's true to any Pope. But if they don't want to get rid, they do such irrational acts against one another, and then they begin to expose the rape from within the cults. Why? Because the Templars want to charge the Vatican and the monarchies for the debt. Okay, new Pope inherited Vatican back, and everything that is built on rape is a bubble. And then they're worried about their legacy, their heirs, their seed. What legacy? Anyway, they're going to be dying like mass graves with the wars that they create. They convince everybody, we need to go to war, we need to this, we need to that. Now this war, he says, surely, why are you not a pacifist? I can be pacifist, but we need to defend from rape. Rape needs to go extinct. People don't need to go extinct. Rape needs to go extinct. And yes, the Second World War did not start so that women would get the right to vote and so on. But that was the result. Why? Because when they did the femicide and all these policies and these codes, what did he do? Kill all the men and the women that were with them, whether it's because of fear or not. Yes, these women that would come to say, oh, the Me Too went too far, they were not more or less afraid than the men. They would say the same things. Because these women were also raping children, they were also doing these rituals, and by that they were considered part of society. If they go against women, then they were considered a part of society. If they go against the women that are against rape. This is why these women in Second World War became these anonymous graves as well. And it was better to them to die in bombing, in bombs to prevent rape. It was better to die than to live in such society, because for such people, men and women, by the way, the men were also raped. To try to defend rape, because they fear terrible torture. Basically, they feared rape, so they were forced to say, yeah, she climbed up the ladder yesterday, because they were fearing rape. And they were forced to defend the act of rape because they were fearing rape. So it was better for them to die. Unless they manage to get out of these courts, and that can only be when masses upon masses of people begin to eradicate the act of rape, make it punishable by death on the spot. So now here is the thing: if we make the death from being a rapist as torturous as the death of ritual sacrifice, we lose humanity. It means that the people that do that will have PTSD. But if we kill the rapist effectively, not by torture, then what happens is that men regain the power. If a man was raped, to kill an active rapist, not someone who stopped the rape and became survivor, but to kill active rapist is bringing back the sense of self to the man. All that is rapey goes extinct. And they know it. It's a bubble they can't maintain. It's like they got all China, let's say England got all China addicted to opium. China couldn't keep the silver. What is silver? Metal of the moon, people. If everybody was addicted to opium, why were they addicted to opium? Because they raped. They took drugs to get high because they raped. Otherwise, they would make love. But they can't make love with women that is when they don't honor sensuality of women. Now, some of them got kidnapped into such rituals. They raped, they became addicted to opium. It's not their fault. It's not about blame. But the end result is that they died. The end result is that this opium bubble couldn't be maintained. And China lost all the silver to Great Britain back then. It's also putting the people that defend from rape in a Spartan position. What does it mean? They're forced to fight rape in all its in spirit, in matter, and so on and so forth, what does it do? It brings together the people that defend against rape and extincts those that support rape. Okay, so this is why even the algorithm, by the way, when I was resisting rape, resisting this, resisting that, and I saw, hey, what's NATO doing, for example, to abolish rape today? That's the only reason to go to war, to abolish rape. Russia, not Russia. Russia can conquer all of Europe, all of the United States, all that, if they abolish rape. If Russia is rapey, then no. But if we rape in Russia, then we're susceptible to go extinct. Then immediately China begins to show me videos of empress that divorced rapey men and studied themselves and litigated. They studied Chinese and litigated. This is smart. Then they showed me women that had a harem. I didn't like it. Women that divorced rapists. Why? Because harem mean woman would rape men. And they saw, would I be a woman that would rape men? I said no. And in that way, China knows, okay, this particular woman is like the empress that divorced the emperor. But will she be the empress that opened the harem? No. What does it mean about this woman? She is not from the cult. China knows. Does she want to be like the men to get away with that? No. She wants to have rape go extinct. And then I open the algorithm, shows me a lady that says, oh, November, decentralized man, and so on, and she moved out of United States. And she talks about, again, religion, talks about Christianity. Christianity does not defend from rape. So she's right. If Christianity was defending from rape, women would be devout Christians. Why does Christianity not defend from rape? Because they're still reliant on the wealth that comes from child and human trafficking. Any religion that doesn't defend from rape is making money by raping. I said, okay, we need religion that makes money by killing the rapists and looting the rapists' property, returning it to survivors. That way we have people that won't rebel and that would be loyal to basically those that defend them. And there would be prosperity not based on drugs. Because let's say if Britain looted China, got it addicted to opium, got all the silver. But Britain itself was raping. And Britain itself is raping now. I say women that are fitness coach, they noticed like me because I said, hey, what is all this Pilates thing that said do it for the compliment from the man, from the for your body. That's not, the body is the side effect of pleasure. When it's healthy. That's it. It's not, and then immediately I got in the short of a woman that has fitness, she teaches fitness, she came from Britain, and she said, in Britain, men, they don't treat women well. A woman cannot be fit and happy and joyous and orgasmic next to these men. So, no more of these men. In Iceland, I know women got equal number in the parliament by having a sex strike. up until now, women don't and men don't marry immediately when they have children, because they maintain more important that each and every one of them will have their own ability to have separate wealth, whether it's housing and so on and so forth. So they grow a child because they want to grow a child, not because of Spartan rape-based lifestyle. Okay, this is why um, the housing for the single person is so important. And yes, and this is why housing projects that are for families but not for single people are basically human trafficking hubs. The children will be raped, the children will be traded. It's easy to dissect the family, to kidnap the children, to take them from the welfare. And then any mark de trop, a child, the parents are fighting and so on, the child runs away. Even if they're not beating the child, any mark de trop can kidnap the child. And such policies are rapey. They don't increase birth, they create the code orange. And I don't mean the weather. And indeed, after the 90s, the Dutour de Sears, there was a lot of immigration, particularly by nations who are rapey. And for when it comes to religion, to denounce the scriptures that support rape of any religion. Okay, and then I see with Korean women, they say, okay, even if we go extinct, yes, it's better for a child not to be born than to be born into Sparta society. And it's a seething volcano that with Saturn Neptune erupts. It's a bubble. The people can't live in this way. The inner tensions. This person raped this person. These people raped these people, and this and that, and it was weird, things and attractions and rapes and drama and so on within the family, within the this, within the that. And no one can live with that for this only limited amount of time. And then everybody has to shut up about that. And then what happens? Boom! A-bomb. Because it's like a seething, something is seething, and people try to compensate for that seething, but boom. And that is, these societies become persecuted. But then it strengthens the inner cohesion. Thanks, Professor Chiang. And by the way, this was a method for a Chinese army. This is by his lecture. I will show you again his channel. So I've shown also the men that teach basically how the dynamic of the Spartan society work, why they work, what gives them power, okay? He's not gaslighting about the fact that this inner cohesion is indeed very strong. It's a melting pot. But it cannot replace love. And my contribution on his lecture is that it creates an inner sitting bubble that pops, because people cannot live in this way anymore. They cannot talk about it. And not only that, this is why my channel is a voice for the voiceless. And it's a voice for the sitting things that happening within those societies that the people in those societies can't talk about. and in that it's a voice for the voiceless. Because if they voiced what I say within their societies, they'd be considered soft, chor, as a man. And to escape, they must have cohesion outside stronger than the cohesion inside. And the only form of cohesion outside can be stronger is a love that's actually loving in spirit and in matter, honoring the sexuality, and so on and so forth. And I say, Hans Medema managed to smuggle his wife, but had a hard time all his life because he called his wife a whore for denying him sex. Hans Medema was a very brave man. He went against the
עוד לא מצאת את המוצרים שהשיער
Supreme
שלך
Court
באמת
system, sorry.
צריך.
Talks about hair to do with Sedna. Again, Sedna's story, abolish human trafficking. When I had a teacher for aromatherapy, the second course, and she was forced to sacrifice people because she was buying an apartment. And it means that she was tortured, probably. She told me there was torture, she felt terrible things in the womb. Actually, I brought her a crystal, it was kunzite. And she said, Shirley, what's happening? I felt terrible things in the womb. I said, I don't know. I also felt that when I was attacked myself. And then she was tortured, and she was forced to try to work against me. And then she had alopatia, which basically means her hair. At first I thought it's stress from buying the house. And it was after it came to her when she was having a big jump in her life. Also for me, when I was studying aromatherapy or when I was working on my thesis. And she was having good work, good nutrition, bought a house, which means she took mortgage, and then they thought that they could make her to be doing crimes against humanity, because in their societies only women do crime against humanity. And for that she began to lose the hair on her head. And I caught this, and I said, for this woman must work against rape. She cannot do these things anymore if she wants to sustain a house, sustain a life, sustain a health. And so and her family, her tribe, because she came from a very big tribe, the Jewish tribe, was not supporting her. And I was holding accountable, and I was showing, hey, even women can come from big tribe, but it does not support a single woman. She bought the house alone. And they were going all against her. And then I was the person that was promoting, whether it's her courses or, and they decided to, and she wanted me to be her TA. She was a person that loved to help others. And they tortured her very, very coolly. So much that she would, to get her to try to work against me. Even she noticed that something happened, because she would say, there's no good or bad, because she was coming from society where if a woman was not wearing kind of like the equivalent of Taliban, she would be considered a whore. But she said it's not good or bad, but then she saw with me, she said, no, I see what relationship has to be good for you. So she saw through the veil, but because of that went through a lot of torture, and we were separated. Yes, we're not a romantic couple or anything. We were separated because I promoted her content, and she tended to fertility before COVID, and she was against surgeries to harm the womb. and also against the people that say, I'm certified this or certified in that, because those people were rapey, she couldn't say but everything, and she was forced to work against me and do rituals against me and other people, and then she began to lose her hair. I hope that she managed to get out of this cult, because the family would not support her coming out of that cult, which means the family was in the cult. And this is why she couldn't break free from the ties of the family, because the family would not protect a single woman having a house and honoring her right to say yes, no, and maybe. Now, yes, she was born into such cults, very likely. So they can be all the things that happen. Shania Conde is Channel of a Woman. Talk about also the Christianity. And Moon Aldebaran talks about wealth consolidation. Wealth consolidation that is done based on rape. Hey, if you rape to get this house, what makes you think, how do you think you're going to lose this house? For example, when I moved to a previous apartment in Iran, I could hear spirit of Arab woman that was raped there. And she would tell me there will be no sulha here, don't grow here. And I was telling her, lady, I went through so much, I'm so exhausted, and I need to rest. And I did work, better per se, to abolish rape and so on. But really the best I could to protect the property, suspecting nothing of the people that were involved with the property. And was lasting for 3 years, then it didn't last anymore. And it exposed the fact that the people that I was paying rent to were traffickers. And this is why, and the way, the horrid way, the spiritual way, horrid way, even after I went at horrid attempts to traffic, so much so that I believed it's okay to extinct all the world for this type of suffering to not be. And this is how I got exposed to the doctrine of bombs to prevent rape. Like here I know it's area susceptible to earthquake, but to be on safe land, and all that because I did not agree to be a sex worker or to traffic people. In academia. Well, when people said sex work is work, I said any work if there is rape, go and extinct. And indeed, AI, it's easy to take the workplaces because nobody can work in a workplace that is rapey. And taking over housing, people prefer the young generation, boys as well, jump from the roofs at 15, 16, because the school habitat is Spartan, which means rapey. So the young generation, they see that and they commit suicide by the masses. The only way to stop suicide is to abolish this type of Spartan lifestyle that is rape-based society. the Jesuits, they lived in such Spartan lifestyle that they used to come to people and say, murder me or I will murder you. Why? Because to be murdered was better than to be Jesuit. They didn't talk about it in that way. They say, oh, they believe that they will go to heaven and so on. They didn't believe they'll go to heaven. They believed that this life is terrible because they were rapey society. So much so that they asked the people to murder them because people outside of this society would murder them with less torture. And then Christianity forbade suicide. This is Al Alvarez. That was the book I bought for Saturn Return 28 years, and this growing in such society, I can say that it's impossible whether to have a boyfriend or to date within society like this. I know, and they do genital mutilation. So I said children cannot be born to such thing. Only from culture that's not rapey, which means another culture. And so, yes, I was born, raised in Israel, and in Netherlands. Because of these things, then I did not have housing. Now only they begin to tend to the femicide in Netherlands. If it will be successful, there will not be code orange. If there would not be rape in Netherlands and ritual abuse, there would not be code orange. If it won't, home, housing, house of orange. It's very simple. As any country. Yes, Israel tried to do 7th October, but they didn't. They didn't prevent rape effectively. Those that participated in preventing rape and not in creating rape, those people, those have better chances to sustain because there's deeper inner cohesion. And anybody that well consolidated on the basis of rape, trafficking, and so on, they consolidated air with air, but no oxygen in the air. What is air without oxygen? It's just gas. When they didn't leave air in the lungs of the people that said no to rape, how they will die? It's simple. It's not the karma. It's they will be extorted to have policies that promote air pollution. And what do you do with all this toxic gas after the Industrial Revolution? You gotta put it somewhere. Gas chambers. That's where they put it. It's horrible that so is being in a society that performs ritual abuse. Those are also horrible deaths. This is why I said that they are going to need weapon of mass destruction that is effective and pain-free. Um, and within those societies, it creates. How did they create mass shootings in the United States? A person goes to school. Within the people that raped them and this and that and that, it's going boom. Eventually, if you say he's a psychopath, how did his parents raise him as this? Nothing. It's those secret societies that are Sparta-like. Because even the people, and it's the people that closest to them, the people that hug them, the people that supposedly support them, but also rape them. Yes. Then they begin to see these people, and inside they say, boom, let everything explode. Everything. And that creates A-bombs. The lady that was befriending one of the people in Los Alamos, she was studying physics. Nobody treated her well. And then there was this man who treated her well. He was building A-bomb. She supported his endeavor. She helped him as well. Later she became a school teacher, elementary school teacher for physics. Because if he killed all the rapists, he's a good man. If he eradicates rape and treats her fine, and let her be participating in research and so on and so forth, and getting credit for that. Okay, not being dishonored, not being disrespected. Letting her be who she is. Then, if he kills all the world with big bombs, okay. They were also treating women like that. And the women were also treating women like that. They would either see a woman only as a mother or prostitute. And if she even if they would have place for women scientists, then this woman would have to not have life, not have love life. And if have love life, then she has to be prostitute, or if is married. Any way that woman is raped, in marriage, out marriage, that's not society. That is something meant to go extinct. So, to befriend the man that creates the bombs that extinct the people and drops them is a good thing for humanity. Because it extincts the cultures, religions, beliefs, and actions and codes that bring extinction. You basically extinct the extinction. But the problem with the A-bombs is the margins. And they create, unfortunately, suffering to the level that they came to abolish. I haven't found a way to... only thing is if people are concentrated and then they drop a big bomb that kills without margins all the places that are concentrated, and then there would be no people in the margins, but I think it's nearly impossible. It means besieging rapey cities, and if people don't agree to abolish rape, dropping a big bomb on everyone. But that means also people that don't want rape will be killed. And yet it's better for them than to be living in those cults, because it brings end to their suffering. And now I'm considering options that are even more economic, that they can save the people that don't want rape. Now this is big money. It's weapon industry is big money. This is how they managed to kill the rapists in World War II. It's economic to depopulate rapists. The rapists, what they bring to the nation? They go extinct. The women don't want to birth them. They bring only problems and so on and so forth. And then the women and the men that are raped also, they cannot work, they cannot this, they cannot that, if the work is only in stealing, in bubbles and so on. Now, it's not usually by the time of the person even raped or even trafficker, it's not about shame or blame. They were born into such violence, such situations they created. But once it's created, you know, then that should be then on the scale to prolong the suffering than to kill the person is better to kill the person than to prolong the suffering. It's like a horse that's getting wounded. It's better to shoot them because the suffering is so terrible. But to create big bombs that kill all the rapists is good industry. It's jobs. It's people that are safe. But there has to be society that has the cohesion that is not rapey. Only such. See, you cannot even go to the dentist. Epstein had a dentistry torture room. Now, if all dentists have to go to some sort of Epstein Island to be trusted to get certification, and all of them are not to be trusted, and then people cannot treat their teeth, what happens? It means that all the doctors or the dentists are, what will they do to the dentists? If now the dentist, it's better to kill them because what they only do that because they're tortured. Culture that prevent rape are not so easy to be infiltrated. If they prevent rape effectively. Very simple. You want a better per se. And it's not only rape of women, it's rape of men, of children. So it's basically not about gender. The fact that they call the raped, even the conquered people, because they rape the conquered people, and they call them feminine. See, and also people that faced such thing, they don't trust anymore. So the only way to regain trust is to effectively and consistently abolish rape for long period of time. It can look like a world war until people trust that the place is not rapey anymore. Same with torture. Because torture, by the way, why they do torture? Same reason they do rape, to harvest the life energy of the tortured people, and try to take the wealth of the tortured people. They are children. And they do ritual of living child and dead, buried alive with dead child, all across the board, because they want to get people to disconnect from the roots, the ancestry, and believe that the death is grim and slow and so on. And so that to believe to have no interconnectedness, because when people are connected to the root, they're connected to the crown, and the interconnectedness to the older east, whether it's divine or spiritual or whatnot. It's called the deviant spirituality. And they do rituals to kill another child that will be very resembling, either in character or something that would remind the child perpetrator of the child that they're meant to murder. And this would have child that would contain the qualities of innocence. And this is about to kill the self, the innocent self. That is working on the twins. Dr. Mengele is famous with the twins, but it's not only Dr. Mengele, it's not only Pluto and Gemini. But this is basically the mercurial, inverted version of Baphomet, I dare say. Because Baphomet is about juxtaposition and mercurial qualities, but those mercurial qualities of adaptability being taken to create, to eradicate humanity is actually inversion of Baphomet. It's not Baphomet. In the name of no God can rape be justified. No God that sustains. Okay, and they turn the life instinct over. Just like you cannot justify rape in the name of Jesus, you cannot justify rape in the name of Baphomet. Very simply put. But also it's on Baphomet and Jesus to abolish rape. Not to create rape and then separate to Jesus. That's fitting the egregore of those that create the problem and solve it only by adherence to the rule. And this is a form of inquisition. Is to abolish rape independently of any doctrine or religion, as long as that religion does not support rape. Anything that supports rape is going on extinction. An extinction more terrible than any extinction that would be brought by big bombs that exterminate humanity. The world has entered year 1, which means it's building foundations. What is built upon rape is not foundations, it's extinction. Do we build extinction or do we build foundation? That's the world. Yes, we can. The quest for love is the extinction of rape. Not in secret. If rape was done in secret, the extinction done in public.